Thank you. Councillor Maureen Mackay.
Present, Stuart, thanks.
Thank you. Councillor Ian Linton.
Here.
Thank you. Councillor Graham Barton.
Yep, here.
Thank you. Councillor Barry Douglas. Councillor Douglas.
Some IT problems, Stuart, but coming.
Okay, right. Councillor Neil Ingram.
Here.
Thank you. Councillor Claire Maitland.
Here.
Thank you. Councillor Drew Filson.
Here.
Thank you. Dr. David Lewis.
Here.
Thank you. Claire McKellar. No. Okay. Babs Mowat.
Here.
Thank you. Norman Watt.
Here.
Yeah. And Jackie Livingston.
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you. And I see Councillor Douglas. You now be able to join us.
Thanks,
Okay.
Chair.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Thanks, Stuart. Just a reminder to everybody that the meeting will be recorded and available to view on the Council's website. And can I ask IT colleagues to start recording if they've not already done so? Okay, the declarations of interest. I don't think there's anything obvious. Okay, there's no declarations. We'll just go straight forward to the first item, and that's an educational item, and it's an e-item rather, that's supporting attendance at work, and Amanda Law.
Thanks, Chair. Lynn Mitchell, People and Culture Manager, is just going to take us through the paper, and then both of you will answer any questions.
Thanks. Okay, Lynn, over to you.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, members. So the report provides detail on performance in respect of attendance at work and the increase to the rates of absence, as well as further context to the reasons for absence and matters relating to the costs. Taking account of these issues, there is then information on the actions being taken and proposals to address absence levels. So paragraphs 3 to 5 of the report provide background in relation to the policy and the initial review which was carried out and approved just prior to the pandemic. Paragraphs 6 to 14 focus on the statistics which are included as Appendix 1, showing details of absence levels from 2019-20 to 22-23, in particular highlighting absence reasons which have increased, such as confirmed coronavirus and long COVID, which obviously did not exist before, but also reasons such as cancer, which has increased by 46% since 21-22, and colds and flu, which have increased by 38% in the same period. Some context is also provided as to the reasons that may contribute towards these increases, and there's also detail of council services which have had the highest rates and some possible factors relating to that, while also noting that it is acknowledged that some of these issues are not unique to East Ayrshire. Then detail in our position in the 21-22 local government benchmarking framework on absence rates, which is the most recent comparator, is provided in paragraph 15. There are then issues highlighted in paragraph 16 to 17 relating to changes in guidance on absence reporting, which have impacted on the absence returns of ourselves and other councils, as well as information on varying services which are included across different local authorities, which show that we are not comparing on a like-for-like basis. For example, we have approximately 1,600 employees between care at home and facilities and property management, and the statistics in section 5 of Appendix 2 show that these services have our highest rates of absence, but other councils may have them outsourced or part of arm's length external organisations, so they're not included in their absence rates. In paragraphs 18 to 21, there is reference to benchmarking information that is attached as Appendix 2 and provides information on the 23 councils, including ourselves, that participated in that exercise. And it shows that overall there are no major differences in our approach from that of others, including those with lower rates of absence. Paragraphs 22 and 23 then set out current sickness allowances, and these are for local government employees. There are separate arrangements for teaching staff, and they are in accordance with LNCT arrangements. Then in paragraphs 24 to 28, it gives some local context, and that's based on the fact that approximately 75% of our employees also live in East Ayrshire. So highlighting local issues faced, as well as the implications of an ageing workforce. Paragraphs 29 to 36 then set out the implications of considering any change to sickness allowance and show why the recommendation is that this should not be amended. In recognising all of these challenges which have been set out, the next section provides detail on how we propose to address absence levels. So paragraph 37 to 41 provides some more detail on the wellbeing supports that are in place for both employees who are off work and for those who are at work, as they also may well need to be supported. You will see there is a comprehensive range, and full details of these are included as Appendix 3, and these are added to on a regular basis. Paragraph 39 specifically highlights the review of the stress management standard that is currently being finalised by the Health and Safety team, and that will replace this with supporting wellbeing at work, which should encourage more dialogue on matters relating to stress, which should be of benefit to both employees and managers. The current stress risk assessment, which is based on HSE guidance, focuses on work-related stress, but recognising that our highest reason for absence is personal stress, this new wellbeing action plan that's part of that standard will focus on all issues that can contribute towards stress levels. There is also reference to our early intervention procedure in paragraph 41, noting that this is quite uncommon in local authorities, but we feel that it's an important aspect of our policy to address absence levels and provide support at the earliest opportunity. Paragraph 42 then refers to the absence project, which has been undertaken in recent months within the People and Culture Service. This details some of the work that has been done, including a further review of the supporting attendance at work policy and also of the training for managers and employees. There is also reference to a new toolkit which has been developed and is about to be rolled out to provide additional advice and guidance to managers and also to employees, and will be an ongoing resource which will be added to as required. Paragraphs 43 and 44 then focus on the work that can be done by managers and HR business partners to ensure a consistent approach to managing absence across services, which is essential in addressing absence levels. Following on from that, paragraph 45 then includes a proposal to provide additional targeted support to services which are experiencing the highest absence levels. This resource is being scoped out, and subject to approval, it is intended that it will provide direct support to managers taking account of specific issues within their teams. A further proposal is then set out in paragraph 46 to establish an independent review panel, and again this will be scoped out subject to approval, but it is proposed that it will consider the management of more challenging or complex cases and ensure that a higher level of scrutiny is undertaken. Following on from all of that, it is then proposed in paragraphs 47 to 48 to roll out and embed these changes and continue to review their impact. The implications arising from the report are then set out in paragraphs 49 to 58. In addition, I can advise that the report has been shared and discussed with members of the council management team twice and has been fully supported. As referred to in paragraph 53, it's been shared with non-teaching trade unions, and initial discussion has also shown their support with no issues raised at this time. It will be shared with the teaching trade unions for discussion at their first consultative group meeting following the school holiday period. I would now refer members back to the recommendations which are set out in paragraph 2 and would ask that these are noted and agreed as appropriate, and I'd then be happy to take any questions or comments that you may have. Thank you.
Thanks very much. I think this is a very useful paper. There's issues here that we really need to deal with as an organisation, and I think members will have a good read at this report. Councillor Maitland, Claire.
Thanks, Lynn, and thanks. Sorry, I couldn't tell if the new mic's on there or not. So, listen, thank you very much for the paper. It's a very stark paper, and there's so much packed into it for something that looks like a short paper. So there are loads of statistics in here that we could pull out, but I'm not going to do that right at the moment. What I'm going to say is that I am delighted that we're continuing to support the attendance at work policy, which of course came about before COVID. We had no idea that this is going to happen, but this is the right way forward. It's to move away from disciplining and to support. And when you look at 75% of our employees actually live within East Ayrshire, and when you look at the ageing population, we are going to have a lot of employees that are going to be in caring positions themselves. So we have to support, and I think this paper does. We have to be very wary of comparisons. I think that comes out loud and clear, especially with the West Lothian one. In paragraph 17, you can see we have 1,600 employees that other councils simply do not have, so would never feature in their statistics. I'm disappointed in some of them and upset by some of them. I think we all are. I think the 46% increase in cancer care absences is shocking, and it shows the knock-on effect of COVID. We're never going to get away from COVID. I think it's going to be with us for so long, and we can't forget that. However, context is absolutely everything in reporting these statistics, and I think you've put the context in there. So when it comes to ranking, when it comes to giving out information, yet again, as often happens in Scotland, we're comparing apples and pears. So I look forward to seeing how the trend changes and how we affect that change, but there is no getting away from how stark these statistics are. So thank you very much for the report.
Thanks, Claire. Yeah, I think that's good points there. Anyone else? Neil?
Yeah, thanks very much, Chair. Yeah, thank you for the office of bringing this paper. Obviously, we want to support people, where possible, to come back to work as soon as possible, but also giving that people that support and addressing the underlying reasons for their absence. I think the kind of personal stress, unsurprisingly, is a major factor given the current cost of living crisis and the social ramifications of a pandemic. So really glad to see that the focus is on kind of mental health and well-being and supporting people to come back.
Thanks very much, Neil. I mean, that's again, as you say, I mean, that's another hidden consequence of COVID, was the impact on mental health and well-being, isolation, and just the general stress of such a viral issue that was affecting everyone. Anyone else want to comment? Okay, can we go to recommendations then? Can we agree the recommendations that's laid down in front of us in paragraph 2? Okay, thanks. And that's the end of the items. So, a short meeting for you this morning, but good to see you. Okay, give me just a couple of seconds to leave the meeting. Okay, we've got to item 3 now, and that's Ayrshire Roads Alliance Fleet Management Service Plan. Then up the back there's Kevin Braidwood. Kevin.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to present to Cabinet the Ayrshire Roads Alliance Fleet Management Service Plan for 23-24. The Council's transport and fleet service is aligned to Ayrshire Roads Alliance and the Safer Communities theme of the Community Plan. The Ayrshire Roads Alliance has the remit for delivery of all transport services delivered by the Council on behalf of the people of East Ayrshire. The strategic lead for transport and fleet maintenance is responsible for the operational delivery of the transport and fleet service and reports directly to the head of Ayrshire Roads Alliance. The transport service currently operates with 3 sections, namely fleet maintenance, fleet management and transport. The service plan is a subsidiary document to the Ayrshire Roads Alliance service plan and is only applicable to East Ayrshire. The plan sets out our current operating position and sets out the vision, challenges, aims and objectives for the 23-24 financial year. These being delivery of the public EV charging network in partnership with SFT in the private sector, pool cars to reduce grey fleet, income generation, greening the fleet, school transport and Ayrshire Roads Alliance digitalisation work streams. The service plan in Appendix 1 contains an improvement action plan and progress will be reported to joint committee within the overall improvement action plans for ARA relevant to East Ayrshire. Appendix 2 and 3 provides our APSI performance standards in summary and the recommendations are contained in paragraph 2. Laura and I would be happy to take any questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks very much, Kevin. And I've got a wide range of report for us there. Members, any comments or any questions? Graham.
Yep. Thanks. I'd just like to make a comment. I'm glad to see the focus on the grey fleet mileage. So in year 21-22, that was calculated at 1.3 million miles and contributed 358 tonnes of CO2 into the atmosphere. I'd just like to ask him, is there any update on the pool car system?
Through you, Chair, Laura and myself are actually putting together a paper just now We're doing a bit of research in terms of grey fleet users, and then we'll bring a paper to Cabinet. I would hopefully bring it probably around about early autumn. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, we'll look forward to that. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Jim?
Thanks, Chair. Kevin, one for me. It's on the financial implications and the ongoing issue, the added pressures that supplying non-statutory school transport. Could you tell me where we are as far as negotiations and what we're doing in regards to that?
Through you, Chair. We have a meeting tomorrow with officers in education and comms, and we'll set out a plan of how we're going to take this forward in terms of consultation, etc., working with other stakeholders such as Stagecoach. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks. Okay, anyone else? Okay, I think that's us all.
Just a wee one from me, just when Kevin's there. It's not actually the paper, but it's to do with electric charging points, and it's to do with the new school at the Doon Academy. Yeah, I've been contacted by some of the nursing staff that's there, and they're just wondering when the area centre is going to get knocked down, will they still be able to use the electric charging points here at the front of the area centre? What's
Through you, Chair, I need to look into that and come back to Councillor Filson.
That's fine, Kevin. Thanks very much.
Okay, thanks for that. Okay, can we different go to the recommendations? Can we agree on recommendations? Okay, thanks for that. And next item is consultation on the proposed visitor levy. And David McDowell.
Thanks, Chair. Chair, the purpose of this report is to provide information on the Scottish Government's proposals to introduce a visitor levy for users of overnight accommodation and to set out the Council's proposed response to the consultation exercise. Paragraphs 3 through 11 sets out the background to the report, highlighting the national importance of tourism to the economy, which is also recognised within the Scotland's National Strategy for Economic Transformation. It's also within our Regional Economic Strategy and the recently published Ayrshire and our Islands Visitor Economy Strategy, which was launched in March 2023. During 2018, COSLA and a number of individual local authorities called on the Scottish Government to grant the powers to allow local authority to place a levy on visitors to their area. In response to this, the Scottish Government launched a national discussion in November 2018, engaging with a wide range of partners and stakeholders from the tourist industry, local authorities and the wider business community. Evidence collected during the national discussion informed development of the proposals around the discretionary local visitor levy. Whilst a levy has the potential to generate much needed income to support the local economy and create a positive experience for visitors, it is not universally supported by businesses, and some perceive it as a barrier to growth and sustainability. In terms of the design of the levy, a levy based on a percentage of the total accommodation charge was preferred by the largest proportion of those responding to the consultation. A majority of respondents also thought that the rate of the visitor levy should be set out through a national framework. Consequently, the Scottish Government has drawn up proposals to introduce legislation which would allow local authorities to introduce additional charges when someone pays for overnight accommodation in hotels, hostels, guest houses, campsites, caravan parks and boat moorings. This would generate funds which could be used to invest in local facilities and services, helping to attract more visitors. This type of tax on overnight tourist stays are common across Europe and other locations across the world. Paragraphs 12 through to 15 sets out that the Scottish Parliament approved the Visitor Levy Scotland Bill on the 24th of May 2023, with the Local Government Housing and Planning Committee issued a call for views in the bill on the 26th of June 2023. Following the deadline of this consultation period on the 15th of September, Parliament will begin taking oral evidence on the bill in October. Local authorities that decide to introduce the new levy will be required to carry out a series of consultations and provide a minimum of 18 months notice prior to implementation of the scheme. As such, the earliest a new levy is likely to be in operation in Scotland is 2026. There is obviously a cost to setting up the new scheme, which would include staff training, system upgrades, monitoring, reporting, and communications through PR, etc. And while costs are yet to be determined, the Scottish Government have estimated that costs could, for some authorities, be in the region between £110,000 to £480,000, depending on the local authority and the size of the area that it's covering. There is obviously an ongoing revenue cost to maintaining these systems. So given the timing of the consultation, my team will be undertaking further work to establish actual costs in setting up such a scheme. Given the potential costs, councils need to consider the likely viability of a scheme in their area, which will be dependent on various factors, including the relative size and contribution of the tourism sector to the local economy and the potential income which could be generated. The East Ayrshire Council response is attached to Appendix 1. The call for views covers a number of important areas, including the need for a visitor levy, the likely impact, local autonomy to set the levy rate, exemptions, record keeping, enforcement and penalties for non-compliance. As part of the collaborative works on both the regional economic and tourism strategies, both North and South Ayrshire councils are working along with officers from our service to engage in the preparation of this response and also to ensure a joined up and consistent approach. Importantly, the bill makes provisions for 2 or more local authorities to come together and develop joint schemes, and this is actively being considered at the Ayrshire level. In relative terms, East Ayrshire has a small number of businesses operating in the tourism sector compared to other parts of Scotland. It will be therefore necessary to get a better understanding of the ratio of cost to benefits to ensure the viability of any scheme. And work is continuing, as I said, with both our North and Ayrshire, South Ayrshire councils, and to ensure that we have all the relevant information to take forward to any decision-making process. As we consider proposals for a visitor levy, it will be important to take the views of the businesses and address issues raised. The proposed network of tourism operators that we promote in today's report will allow the council to engage on this subject and will provide a networking and partnership opportunities, with also a platform to discuss challenges and benefits from the peer support, including taking on market intelligence and business development opportunities. At the same time, the council believes that the administration of the proposed scheme must be balanced, proportionate, sustainable and designed to meet the needs of the accommodation providers as well as the local authorities. Discussions are taking place, as I say, at regional level, and we are hoping to, if this moves forward positively, establish a pan-Ayrshire visitor levy scheme. Paragraph 2 sets out the recommendations, and happy to answer any questions, Chair.
Thanks very much, David. Just wondering, in terms of cross Ayrshire working, it's good to see that that's been progressing with officers, but it's maybe now it's time to maybe more formalise that through maybe the AEP to have some elected member discussion and maybe put it on the agenda there just to see if there's enthusiasm at that level for a joint Ayrshire approach. To me, it makes complete sense, but just to see if that's shared elsewhere.
No, appreciate that, Chair. The situation was that we were very, I mean, the timelines for this had just come in before the recess, and obviously they're looking for feedback, but it is our intention to take that through the Regional Economic Partnership. I think that at this moment in time, we need to do quite a bit of fact finding and establish the kind of true information, because in one aspect, it might not mean a lot of money for East Ayrshire. So we have to identify whether it's worth, us taking this forward, and if we are taking it forward, at what rate we would take it forward at.
No, I get that. I think that makes sense. Elaine, and Elaine.
Thank you, Chair. I'm supportive of the recommendations in the report, but I do have some concerns that I'd like to comment, and to be fair, they are picked up on the report. I can understand why a visitor levy would be attractive and viable in other cities and regions in the country. I'm not sure East Ayrshire falls into that category. I'm concerned about the strain that this might put on already stretched budgets and services with regards to the resources and investment that would be required to set up and maintain a system like this. I'm also concerned about the burden that we put on our local businesses. And the final point I want to make is to offer an alternative view about community wealth building. I think the absence of such a levy in East Ayrshire might be used as a way of attracting visitors to the region. So making us a bit more viable to tourists to come and stay in glorious Ayrshire. So if there's an international cycling event in Glasgow, come live and stay in Ayrshire and spend your money here in Ayrshire. So those would be the comments I would like to feed into this report. Thank you, Chair.
Excellent. Claire.
Thank you. There's a few points I wanted to make there that Elaine got in. There was a couple of questions. I noticed that in Edinburgh they were being asked to do a percentage of the cost of a night's accommodation as opposed to just a £2 straight head levy. So I think that would have to be built in. If we were going to do something, we'd have to agree on what we were going to do with that. Preferably, I'd prefer just a flat rate for a night. Yes, Elaine, it could attract visitors, you're quite right. What I'm concerned about is that there are noises off in Edinburgh when this comes off that the money isn't going to go to the council, but it's actually going to go to the businesses, and I think it should go to the council for infrastructure. So I just wanted to know if that was what would happen here, and whether we prefer a percentage or a flat rate. Thank you.
Thanks. David.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that some regions have is that they have a, what we would call a DMO, Destination Management Organisation, and obviously there are some of this money in certain areas may go to that area for dispersal through that kind of type of organisation rather than directly to councils. I mean, what we've looked at is the money, if we do generate money, the money will be coming back to the council, but we're certainly in the early stage here, so we need to identify what the true costs of delivery were. And to take Councillor Cowan's point, I mean, it may be that we don't generate sufficient money to, and the amount of money to actually collect it is more than what the money is in terms of revenue. So we do have to look at all this and bring back a kind of detailed report that, for your consideration, and that would also go into the options through an option appraisal of if it was 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. in terms of percentage, or if it was done under an alternative means as has been promoted in some other local authorities.
I think the cost to administer been greater than the actual cost we receive is an absolute red line, and I think that's the kind of we go into negotiations with that in mind. But I think we don't rule anything in or out now just to be here. What's in it for the authority. Elaine.
Thank you, Chair. I think you've just made my point for me. I think this is one area that we definitely don't want to be an early adopter on. I know I'm usually one of the ones that's pushing for new initiatives, but this is one that I think we should be cautious about and do all that analysis first of all, and understand not just the impact on our council services, but the impact on the businesses. I see the report recommendation is looking at setting up a sort of forum and a networking opportunity. I think that's where our efforts should be initially focused in this area. Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, so I'll be interested to hear back just before, and I think that's kind of wise strategy to adopt. Anyone else? Oh, can we go straight to recommendations then? Can we agree on recommendations? Okay. And so the final items, the Central JCC for the 15th of June, and that's just for Norton. So that's us at 10:30. Probably one of the quicker cabinet sessions down to you, Stuart. Keep this in good order. But just thank everybody for their attendance. We'll see you soon. I think we've got a sounding board.
10 minutes.
10-minute recess. Come back at 1:45.
Go 15 minutes.
15 minutes, aye. I was sneaky there, Barry.
I see that. Right, no worries. See you shortly. Thanks, Dougie.